Intro. So, you spent 9 months preparing for the baby. You read all the books, you meticulously planned the nursery, you did all the things. But let's be honest, no one really prepares you for what happens after the delivery, to you. We need to talk about that moment you look in the mirror and don't quite recognize the person staring back, or that overwhelming feeling that your body is no longer your own. If that's you, I want you to hear this, you are not alone. Today, we're going to get into all of it, the messy, the beautiful, and the very real journey of your body's recovery, from the first few hours to the first full year. Section 1. The first 6 weeks intense healing. The first 6 weeks are known as the postpartum period, and trust me, it is an intense time of healing. Your body just did something absolutely incredible, and now, it needs to recover. Right after birth, you'll experience vaginal bleeding called lochia. This is just your body's way of shedding the blood and tissue that lined your uterus, and it can last for several weeks. For the first few days, expect it to be heavy and bright red, and you might see some clots. That's all normal. You'll also probably feel contractions known as after pains. It might be uncomfortable, but this is actually a good thing. It's your uterus shrinking from the size of a watermelon back down to the size of a pear, and those cramps are a sign that your body is healing. If you had a vaginal delivery, you are going to have some perineal soreness, especially if you had a TEU. A little pro tip: using a squirt bottle to rinse with warm water, sitting on a donut pillow, and using ice packs can bring some serious relief. And if you had a C-section, it's so important to remember that you are recovering from major surgery. Your incision will be sore, and you'll need to take it easy, no strenuous activity or heavy lifting for at least 6 weeks. Section 2. 6 weeks to 6 months finding a new normal. Around the 6-week mark, you'll have a checkup with your doctor, which, for many, marks the end of that initial, intense recovery phase. Your uterus is typically back to its pre-pregnancy size, and any bleeding has likely stopped. This is often when you'll get the green light to return to activities like exercise and sex. But the journey is definitely not over. One of the biggest things people talk about in this phase is postpartum hair loss. You might notice a pretty significant amount of shedding, often starting around 3 months after delivery. This is all thanks to your hormones leveling out, and I promise, it's temporary. Your hair should return to its normal fullness within a year. Something else you might experience is urinary incontinence, and it affects about 1 in 3 women after delivery. This happens because the pelvic floor muscles have been weakened. Gentle pelvic floor exercises, like Kegels, can make a huge difference in regaining that control. And hey, if you're finding this guide helpful, take a quick second to subscribe. We're all about having more honest conversations about motherhood, and your support helps us keep creating this content for you. Section 3. 6 months to a year, the long-term journey. Here's the truth. Full recovery takes time, often much longer than just 6 weeks. In fact, many experts say it can take anywhere from 12 to 18 months to feel fully recovered. Some of the changes you see might be long-lasting or even permanent. You might notice that your stretch marks fade into silvery lines but don't disappear entirely. Your hips might be permanently a bit wider, and some women even find their shoe size has gone up. It also takes time to lose the weight gained during pregnancy, so it's really important not to rush it. Focus on gentle movement and eating nourishing foods that help your body heal. But the physical side is only half the story. The hormonal shifts after birth are massive, and they have a huge impact on your emotional well-being. Up to 80% of new mothers experience the baby blues, mood swings, sadness, and crying spells that usually pop up in the first few days and resolve within 2 weeks. However, if those feelings of sadness, anxiety, or hopelessness stick around for longer than 2 weeks, you might be dealing with postpartum depression, or PPD. This is a serious but treatable medical condition that affects about 1 in 8 women. It is not a sign of weakness, and it is never your fault. If you feel like something is wrong, please reach out to your healthcare provider. Conclusion: your postpartum body is a roadmap of the incredible journey you've just been on. It has changed, and that is more than okay. The pressure to bounce back is completely unrealistic and unhelpful. Instead, let's focus on healing forward. Be patient with yourself, celebrate what your amazing body has accomplished, and give it the time and grace it absolutely needs to recover. Remember to rest when you can, don't be afraid to ask for help, and try to connect with other mothers. You are not on this journey alone. What is one thing about postpartum recovery that totally surprised you? Share it in the comments below. You could really help the new moms who will be watching this after you.